Hey guys, welcome back to your Watson Loot. Today we got tier list, zoo tier, one of them Jones. How are cows OP? You feel what I'm saying? I feel like cows are. I've been waiting, by the way, for like Tierzoo to drop side because like my son putting me on game in a way I ain't think like you could put it on in the way he like explains it. I love it. That being said, though, I think cows are OP just because of how strong they are and how like low maintenance they are. Like they can still, you feel what I'm saying, reproduce crazy. But let's check it out. And yeah, let's get it. Oh my lord. Why is everything not working right now? That's so clean.
Cows are one of the most popular builds in the game, and normally a high population is a good indicator that a build is pretty powerful in the current meta.
Facts.
However,
Think about
I
humans.
think in the case of cattle,
Or fishies. Fishies go dummy.
Make their true power level a bit less obvious. Are cattle low-tier builds that are simply propped up by human activity? Or are they a genuinely powerful high tier that would dominate with or without human help?
They could while out without us. You feel me? I feel like they'll probably be better off. It will be less cows though. For certain, it will be less
Cattle
cows.
are part of a powerful faction of builds called bovines, which also includes the bison, Cape buffalo, water buffalo, and historically the auroch. While there are a few differences between them, which we'll discuss in a tier list at the end of the video, they all share a few
there's some animals I just don't know.
Bovines have an exceptionally high HP stat. It takes a lot of damage to bring them down.
Nah, fighting a rhino is crazy.
From multiple predator players at once.
Getting jumped like they jumping my son.
HP builds, bovines don't just sit there eating the damage. No, they can strike
elks are okay.
Incredible force. They're sharp.
I see that jaw flip.
Unlike some other
I gotta try to catch that like in midair.
Sit there eating the damage.
My son died.
They can strike back with
look at the air time.
Incredible.
My son in air like these.
Force. Their sharp, sturdy horns can inflict massive damage on anything unlucky enough to be caught in their
Yeah, this was like in
and
San Francisco,
animals,
no? On my tweaking.
Off and need to be regrown each year, the horns cattle have, they have year-round, always ready to wreck someone's plan of attack. Their mobility stat is kinda mid, definitely not high enough to reliably escape predators, and their intelligence and stealth are both below average for a mammal.
Okay, so it looks like this is kind of small. Basically, HP, like he said, HP and defense is max. You feel what I'm saying? But I pause because I wanted to ask a question. Does anyone ever think about like what it's like to be an animal, like in the wild, day to day? Like the smoke, you gotta be ready. Like people think living in certain areas, you gotta be ready for the smoke. Being an animal is at any point a cheetah could pull up like, "Yo, what's up? I'm hungry." A lion, I'm hungry. Now you gotta scrap for your life. And if you're not ready if you don't eat your veggies that day. You a beef jerky to that lion. You feel me? So it's crazy. I just randomly thought about that scene. Cheetah, whatever cat that was that got flipped like some pizza. Like it's crazy.
However,
like being an animal is crazy.
All that integral to the bovine build's main strategy. While lower intelligence does create a potential vulnerability to traps and lower their resistance to distractions and intimidation tactics, it's not so low that bovines aren't able to utilize team combos. Quite the contrary, in fact. The herd defense tactics employed by a competent herd of cattle makes them borderline impossible to defeat in a group.
I can imagine.
Since they have such a high HP stat, this gives cows' teammates a lot of time to regroup and launch a counterattack if one of their herd members goes down and needs a save. Next, we should discuss their unique
the hell is that on his body?
Their signature combat moves. Bovines all have the ruminant ability, which enables them to gain XP and level up all just from eating grass.
They OP. That's off rip. You OP. If you just need grass to live, you're OP. Because there's grass from so many places on this planet. Like a lot of places can't grow grass, but most continents I'm pretty sure can, except for maybe like Asia and like Antarctica. I'm pretty sure every other continent and probably some parts of Europe. I'm pretty sure every other continent like can grow like grass easily.
Boring ability, but its usefulness is actually hard to overstate. Having this perk essentially means that one of the most abundant plants in the game becomes your main source.
Animals have the ability to swallow grass and later regurgitate it to. Ew, that's nasty. They chew the cut and then Swallow it for further. I mean, that's useful. I guess they have storage abilities.
Completely removing the need to search and
They got like built-in shulker
This
boxes.
means a player doesn't need to invest evolution points into things like climbing, digging, keen eyesight, or intelligence to be able to
Facts.
find food.
That
And
is
can
actually
reinvest
true.
those points into other stats, which is how cattle are able to support such a high base stat total. Cattle also push the mammal
You better talk
faction's
about them like
signature move,
Pokemon.
lactation, to its limits. Cow milk is
That
one of the
looks
most
so
nutritious
wrong.
substances in the game. For such a high base stat total.
Am I wrong for going
Also
back?
push the mammal faction's signature move, lactation.
My son going dummy. Like they going dummy. Like going dummy on it. I need something like they going crazy on it.
And allows new cattle players
Look
to
at that.
level up extremely quickly. This helps keep their offspring safe, as it means they spend less time in the more vulnerable low weight class, and quickly reach a size where hardly anything could realistically take them down alone.
Again, that's
the
a
cattle's
fact.
signature move is Goring Rush, an extremely powerful head bash attack that deals heavy damage and inflicts incredible knockback.
I could
forcing the
see
target
that.
back a good distance and also likely knocking the target prone, which allows for easy follow-up attacks.
Stupid.
Their sharp hooves deal extra
Stupid.
damage to prone enemies, so this straightforward combo.
Stupid. You trying to jump me? Move, stupid. Come on. What you doing?
Guard.
Your man's on my
That's
back.
about
Go.
it when it comes to the cow's main combat moves. Cows
Nah.
can kick as well, but it's more of a stomp than anything. They don't have the flexibility or power to headshot someone like a
Yo,
horse can.
what animal?
They also
What
cannot
animal
do
just
damage
back?
with their
Nah, that's
teeth,
crazy.
Since they don't have upper teeth. Not a super big deal, but biting is a powerful option to have in
Facts,
mind,
we learned that from
so it's at
insects.
least worth mentioning. Now let's get into the cattle's weaknesses and counterplay. So due to the cattle's low intelligence stat, its resistance to mental status conditions like intimidation, distraction, or trickery is reduced. Intimidation is a pretty common tactic employed by a variety of different builds, from predators to omnivores to herbivores.
Facts.
Intimidation is one of the most effective tactics against cattle, and can often result in a cow losing a battle that it very easily could have won if it had not been scared away. And conversely, if a cow does decide to take the offensive, distractions can easily divert the attack, causing it to completely.
So, like, I got a question, right? For all the people in Spain, all my Spaniards, why y'all be running with, like, what is the point of, like, running with, like, cows and stuff like that? Like, is it, like, I understand culture and tradition, but is that not stupid in 2020? Do y'all still do that? If y'all do, isn't that stupid? Like, again, I understand it and all, but why? Like, that just seems so archaic. That being said, though, if I'm ever in Spain and it's running with the bulls time, I'm gonna be up in the stands with binoculars like these, like I'm not gonna lie. But like, why do y'all voluntarily like try to die? I don't like I don't get it. Like, I don't at all. Teasdale though. Shout out to y'all.
While this is, of course, extremely risky, overcommitting to an attack and whiffing.
No, that was lit. No, that was lit. Now my son is different. My son. That's why y'all doing this for training arcs. Look at these. Look at these. Like, they all chilling watching. That would be me. Like the guy in the back over here. That's me on the gate. Like, oh, that's great. But that's fire. Like that. And then the cow cleared it too. Now that's like that's fire.
Oftentimes mean the difference between decisive victory and crushing defeat. Advanced players will even be able to utilize
losing to a goose
and distraction
is
to
crazy.
in specific directions, enabling them to control entire herds, which is what has allowed human mains to capture huge numbers of cattle. Cattle
Makes
are known
sense.
for their goring rush attack, which, while powerful, is imperfect. Many builds put a ton of points into the ability Concussive Force Resistance, enabling them to throw out headbutt attacks without much risk. Cows have some blunt force resistance, but not enough that headbutts and charging attacks are without risk. In fact, at high speed, cattle can easily take lethal damage in a single hit if they strike another player at full force with their charging attack.
I mean, he got up
The
though.
goat or
My son ate that and walked
can
off.
easily best a cow in 1v1 combat, even though the cow's stats are much higher in a vacuum. Builds with
I'd still rather be a
facing
cow.
horns can also present quite a challenge to bovine builds, as bovine horns tend to face to the side and are more used for swiping and slashing at opponents than for stabbing forward. This means that in a direct confrontation, sharp antlers can deal a lot of damage to a bovine player while keeping them out of reach of connecting with their own horn attacks.
Ah,
There
that
aren't
is
enough
true.
different bovines for a proper full-length tier list video.
Okay.
But I think I can do a quick rapid-fire ranking to close.
I love that for you. Come on, my
The
boy.
basic cattle comes in at a solid B tier. Definitely
That's
not
solid.
a bad build, but one with a lot of weaknesses that high tier builds can exploit. Their main advantage over the other, more wild cattle variants is that due to selective breeding by humans, the domestic cattle are actually the best in the game at milk production. And therefore,
makes
their
sense.
offspring level up and reach larger sizes much quicker. definitely a much more beginner-friendly build. Although at the end of your playthrough, there's a good chance a human will eliminate you.
Eat you out, eat that ass up.
Yak, a mountainous variant of the
yaks are a part of like cows. Now that's fire. I've always found like yaks fires. Like I ain't gonna lie. Shout out Kodak Black too, but I always found yaks fire.
cattle that
I didn't even know they were like cows. I thought they were like their own.
Better resistance to the cold and better mobility on icy or rocky.
Word.
Same basic weaknesses as
I'm looking at my other screen because I can see it better.
To survive the cold Himalayan mountains means that it has less natural enemies to contend with than cattle in less hostile climates.
That is a fact.
At the bottom of A tier, we have the bison.
Bisons go dummy.
Bovine builds and
Bisons go dummy.
For extra health and defense.
Nah, bisons go dummy.
Shorter horns and lots of padded fur on their head.
Bison remind me of like grandparents. Like to me, like that's like they give me that. Don't mess with that man over there because he may be 60, but he got a scrap on him. Like that's just what that bison build remind me. Bisons are fire.
Meaning that they can tank a lot more damage.
What would y'all rather be like out of order?
Damage using gore and rush.
Cow shit. I forgot what he said. Caravine. Cow. Word.
Really help discourage aggressive teams of wolves from attacking them.
Yeah, they don't got the power though.
A one-hit kill without a crit.
Nah, he's comboing him.
On bison.
No, my son comboing him.
As the premier tank of the North America server, and have favorable
Moose is crazy.
Grizzly bear. So still definitely a
they could fight grizzly bears?
Next in A tier we have the water buffalo, a bovine build with roughly equivalent stats to the common
No, that's actually crazy.
Higher offensive stats and massive horns. They get a mobility bonus in shallow water, which, while not that busted of an ability, is still pretty
It's still solid though.
Water
they can live in
to
wetlands.
fight off one of the most powerful solitary predator builds
Birds?
in the game, the Bengal tiger. Anything that can take on this thing has to be.
They could fight tigers?
The human player base in the India server is also notably less aggressive towards bovine players, which makes them a lot more viable in that meta. But
they could fight tigers? Like I know I saw like one flip. You feel what I'm saying? Flip a line on his head like it was trying to put him in the air and leave him there. But like for real though, that's great. Like. It's so much animals that like to me like a tiger is like apex predator. You're not messing with it. Like if you run a fade with a tiger, GG's. And this is showing me water buffaloes be giving it up. Like don't sleep on them water, but like that's crazy.
When it comes to hostile metagames, nothing compares to Africa.
Facts. Africa. Africa. If reincarnation is a thing and I get reincarnated into an animal, the one place on this planet I don't want to be born is Africa. Like Africa, beautiful, love it, love the motherland. Shout out to y'all, but I would like you're just dead. Like you're either dead or you're that guy. Like it's one of the two. Like, or I want to be an elephant in Africa because I feel like elephants just run Africa. Like you talking word.
Of extremely
but I don't know. Africa ain't it?
Yeah. Territorial giants like the rhino and elephant. The Cape Buffalo is still
I'll be one of them.
One of the most dangerous builds in the game. It's one of Africa's big five. A status given to builds which are notoriously difficult for humans to defeat 1v1. And so I think for this reason, the African Cape Buffalo ranks first among the bovine builds. But it still doesn't quite crack S tier.
What's S tier?
Mostly because it's overshadowed by the wildebeest in the African savanna meta. The wildebeest, which is not a type of cattle or buffalo, but rather is essentially an antelope with higher stats, may not be as bulky as the Cape Buffalo, but it does have a much higher base speed stat. And this speed is
they
pretty
be out
for being able to escape in
my son said leave
and for punishing opponents who don't respect the wildebeest's range, leading to the wildebeest being vastly more successful than the Cape Buffalo.
My son running down cheetahs and lions?
Crack S tier in the African server. Now, this doesn't mean cattle will never be S tier. In fact, I think there's a pretty strong argument to be made that prior to humans unlocking the gunpowder technology on the tech tree, bison were the undisputed S tier of North America. And although they were all but annihilated from the server, their numbers are slowly but surely returning to healthy levels. It's quite an inspiring story, which you can check out right now on Curiosity Stream.
Shout out Curiosity, facts, word. But I want to go back to the tier real quick, the list, because I didn't know we were actually at the end of the list. I thought there was something that actually was going to be S tier. Like, because insects was crazy. Like, the insect list was crazy. But there are a bunch of insects, to be fair. I'm just trying to buffer while I go through these and, like, look. Where the hell is it? That was the weave.
Builds which are notoriously
come on now.
Humans to defeat 1v1. And so, in the African...
You know what? I'm not finding it. But long story short, I just wanted to show people like where I would be on the list. I'm team water buffalo at this point. Like look at my son. My son's chilling. Look at them. They look majestic. Like I'm team water buffalo. Put me in India. We chilling. Word. I'm not going. But word. But for real though, the water buffalo look fire. I didn't even know. Like the minute I see you scrapping with a tiger, like I didn't even know that was a thing. Like the minute I want to be the thing that can scrap with a tiger 1v1. Fire. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Which cow would y'all want to be, or Karna, whatever. Which cow would y'all want to be? I'm not tweaking for want to be a water buffalo. Second owner, by the way, is a regular cow. Like I'll just be a cow because I feel like cows just be chilling. Like they have like the like he said, they're kind of in the middle, but they just really living the easiest life. Everyone else seems like they got to fight for their life. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. I'll catch y'all.